Hello, Emma. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited too.
I love your story, and I know we were chatting a little bit offline, and I think it's really going to inspire so many women as part of this project because your journey has been so unique from a lot of the other ladies part of this project as well. So I can't wait to dig in and dive in. But first, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Emma Churchman and I'm a conscious business mentor. So I coach highly conscious entrepreneurs, more spiritually conscious entrepreneurs so that they can up level in their businesses.
I love that. And part of your journey, we've been talking a little bit about you've grown this successful business and you've been able to do it in, you said a couple of years, but your journey has been, you said 17 years.
Yeah, I've
Years
actually
total.
been an on again, off again entrepreneur for 20 years. And the first 17 years really sucked because I was in a shit ton, excuse my language, of resistance.
Okay.
I was really in my own way. And so part of what I want to talk with you all about today is how to get out of your own way because you don't want to stay in that pattern for as long as I stayed in that pattern.
And that's so important because you obviously had this burning desire and fire of entrepreneurship in you. And for 17 years, you tried to turn it into something because it obviously wouldn't go away. It was like this little, girl on your shoulder going, keep going, keep going, keep
Right.
going. I'm meant to do this. But it wasn't working. So there's so many women out there who are or were in that position where they know that they're meant for something more. They know that they're meant to be this entrepreneur and inspire and create impact and, along with that, create this legacy. So tell us a little bit about that journey and tell us, how you kept on going and what kept you pushing through and how you discovered where that aha moment, like the click finally connected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's talk about resistance for a moment because I was in every possible type of resistance. So I was in indecision. I had this story that I have amazing spiritual gifts. I'm a psychic, right? Like, oh, I have amazing spiritual gifts and people should just flock to me and, I'll tell them what they need to know. That's not a business. That's kind of a magical thinking. So I had that. I had a lot of indecision. And what I mean by that is I wasn't willing to make hard decisions for my business to move forward because I wasn't willing to take on the power and the responsibility that comes alongside making decisions, especially big financial decisions like hiring a business coach, making a significant investment. I wasn't taking myself seriously enough or taking those decisions seriously enough. I was avoiding, I was procrastinating. I kept on coming up against what's called the terror barrier. So, when you're starting to move forward into something new in your business and you can see it, like you see the possibility of what you could create, but then you start to feel fear. And the more you move towards what you want, the bigger the fear gets. Most people, especially more spiritually conscious entrepreneurs, when they start to feel a lot of fear, they think, oh, something's wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. This isn't in alignment with who I am. The universe wants me to do something different. But what I learned is that fear is normal,
Yeah.
right? Like the most powerful thing we can do is actually agree with the fear, not argue with it, not try to alleviate it, not try to work through it, but keep on going with the fear because the more we move forward, the more we can get out of that flight energy, the fight or flight response, the less our survival instincts will kick in if we keep moving through the fear. So I had to do that as well. So I had to identify all the different ways I was resisting. And then I had to make a decision. to really get clear on what my desire was. because I thought that I was letting myself have desire, but I wasn't. My desire was like, oh my God, I'd really love to be able to pay my rent and all my other bills this month. Like that is not a sexy desire. That's kind of okay, great. I guess I could be motivated to give other people money desire. So we really have to tap into a larger desire for ourselves. And sometimes that desire it's got a shadow side. There's the lightness of, I want to serve thousands of people. I want to change consciousness on this planet. I want to really help entrepreneurs make a difference in the world. And those are beautiful, kind of the light side of desire. But then there's the dark side. There's the envy, the lust, the greed, the gluttony. And we got to tap into the dark side too. So my dark side was, I'm going to prove my boyfriend wrong, right? Like he says I can't be a multi-six-figure business owner as a psychic. I'm going to prove him wrong. And that helped motivate me too. So it's giving ourselves permission to tap into all the different ways that desire shows up. Is this making sense?
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm a big believer in what you're scared of, that you need to go for, right? That fear inside of you really means that you need to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and get to the next level within yourself or your business. And I love how you're talking about that, and love, because there's so many people, we all as women have fears and self-doubt and these voices in our head that creep in. And you are just such a great example of how you've continued to push through it until you found your way. Now, you talked about how you've been an entrepreneur for 20 years and 17 years weren't so successful. So finally, like when you hit that spark in yourself, when you found that thing that worked, like what were those signs that you were in alignment with it and that it was working and that you needed to keep on going?
Yeah, great question. So there were a couple things. One is I started to notice that my urgency was coming from my desire, not my fear. Okay. The second thing I noticed is that I started to take responsibility for being the center of my universe. I started to look around me and see everything that was happening. And I said to myself, I am responsible. I am the cause of my reality and my life and my business. And if I'm the cause, then I can change it. So that's kind of the paradigm shift that I did. And then the signs that I started to get were, I started to feel this absolute confidence. So I would make a decision about what I wanted to do in my business. And then I had confidence from that decision. I didn't have confusion. I didn't have procrastination. I didn't have lack of knowing. I stuck with my decision and I stopped thinking. So I noticed that my mind stopped spinning so much because I was in action and in motivation and in urgency towards my desire rather than stuck in what was happening between my ears. Does that make sense?
You were just like, this is it, I'm going. And I feel that energy to keep going. And whatever is going on outside of that, it doesn't matter because I'm just going to keep going. So how do you help people, or what do you say to that person who hasn't found that like freight train mentality? I always tell everyone, like when I first started out, I was a freight train. It was like, you either hop on board or you get out of my way. So, and I love that analogy because it really resonates with a lot of people. But how do you tell people to find that freight train? How do you self-discover that purpose inside of you?
Yeah, because you've really got to tap into your big why. Because if you don't know what your why is, if you don't know why you're getting out of bed in the morning and running your own business, you're not going to be successful. So the first question I would ask is, do you really want it? Like, what big picture, what is it that you want for yourself in your life? Mm-hmm. And then, are you willing to move towards what you say you want?
Exactly.
And then finally, are you able to move towards what you say you want? Because you got to check all those three. Because becoming a multi 6-figure or 7-figure business owner, especially as a woman, that takes balls.
Lady
right?
balls. Yes. I love it.
And if you don't really want it, you're not going to get it. And if you
not.
don't really want it, that's cool. But be honest with yourself.
Yes. And there's so many women out there. They're like, oh my gosh, I want to be a coach. I want to be this. But they're like, they're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to make those investments and get that support and get that help. And then they're like, okay, I want to be a coach, but I can't hire my own coach because I don't have the money. So there's just like this like big mix of craziness sometimes that goes on in our industry. So to that person who's like, yeah, I want it, but they're not really willing to go all in for it, what would you tell that person?
If you have the desire, the means by which to reach that desire, it's already here. You cannot imagine a possibility for yourself if the solution isn't already available to you right now. So that's first and foremost. Second of all, hire a coach. When I made my big leap, and let me clarify that, I went from an average of $500 in monthly sales to an average of $20,000 in monthly sales. I made that leap in 30 days. And I hired 3 coaches. That's what helped me make that leap. Like I needed surround sound coaching in order to get out of my own way and to stop being in limitation and lack and scarcity.
And hiring 3 coaches, that is a big investment.
Yep.
And that scares a lot of people. And recently in my business, I made an $18,000 plus investment in a coach. And that was a really scary investment. But I knew that if I wanted to, I've already hit the 6 figures, but that's not my end goal. I wanted to go bigger. I wanted to go bigger on impact. And to get there, I needed to do what I was asking others to do for me. But how did you switch that mindset within you? Be like, all right, this is what I'm doing, whatever it takes. I'm hiring 3 coaches and this is going to happen.
I decided, I said, if I can't figure this out now, I'm never going to do it. I got tired of hearing myself talk about why I couldn't have what I wanted to have.
That's yes. If you just hit that point, you're just I'm going for it. I love that.
Yep.
So we also talked about offline, how you've done things a little bit non-traditional in the online world. So you've really grown your business outside of the online world. And then now you're emerging into the online space. So tell us, how have you been able to grow your business to a multiple 6-figure business and have a lot of your business offline?
Yeah, I'm such a rule breaker.
I love that.
Yeah, because the online world, honestly, I got totally overwhelmed because there are lots of different ways to do marketing and messaging online. And I noticed that every time I was trying to go online, I was shutting down. So I really got in touch with, what's the best way for me to connect with people? And what I know is that when someone is in my vibration, when they're in my energy, they will buy from me. So I started going to networking events. I started scheduling speaking engagements. I went to conferences, just anywhere where I could interact with my target audience. And I started talking about what I love and what I believe and what my values are. And I really led from that place of values. So rather than identifying my target audience as women entrepreneurs between the age of 30 and 60 who are making less than 6 figures, blah, 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 I came from this place of, these are the values that I uphold in my business. Do you want to uphold those same values in your business? And then created the match that way.
And I love that because it shows that if this online world and all the marketing, if that's overwhelming to you, you don't have to give up. You just take another path. Go outside the online world and make it happen. And you've been a perfect example of success outside of the online world. And that is so inspiring because I know that there's so many women who are watching this who are like, oh, this marketing, this online stuff, this live streaming, whatever, the Instagram, what's that? Hashtag. Like it is overwhelming. And I love, love, love that. So we went all over the place in this interview, such inspirational stuff. Tell me, what's one thing that you want to leave with the Sparkly Truth Project viewers and listeners today?
I really want you to hear what I said earlier about where your urgency comes from and whether it comes from fear or desire. Because if your urgency is coming from fear, your decisions in your business are going to come from fear. You're going to be sharing that energy of fear in your sales conversations. Even if you don't say anything fearful, that energy is going to be present. But if your urgency comes from desire, comes from your passion, comes from your big why, that's going to motivate your decisions and your actions and your sales conversations. And that's a very powerful way to do business.
Perfect. I totally agree, and that resonates so well. So I am so excited to have you a part of this series. Thank you so, so much, Emma, for sharing all of your inspiration and story with me today and all of your truth and getting vulnerable about your journey. Tell everyone where they can find you. Where can we learn more about you?
Sure. My website is a great place to go. It's emmachurchman.com, EMMACHURCHMAN.com. And when you go onto my site, you can actually download a free ebook that I've got right now off the homepage called Create Your Own Damn Map, Tips for Unleashing Abundance for Highly Conscious Entrepreneurs.
Love it. Love it. My rule breaking lady balls lady. I love it. So go ahead and find Emma on her website and learn more about her. And thank you again, Emma, for being a part of this. I so, so appreciate it. It was so nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This was great.
Of course. We'll talk soon.